We are now in the middle of the NFL offseason. We've been in the middle of the NFL offseason for a little bit here, but like anything else, we're talking about what people have to say or just random comments that random players have come out and said. And strangely, after I think we did this segment 2 weeks ago now, maybe even three, we talked about the NFL schedule. Andy Reid came out and talked about it recently and pretty much addressed something that I didn't even realize was the case until pretty much right now. And it was pretty surprising to me, to say the least. The Chiefs have to play on every single day of the week at least once this season. And I don't know if that's has that ever happened before? I guess that would have been something important, smart to look at before this. But it's definitely something
So
I can't say I've
the
heard
last,
of.
according to USA Today, the only other team in league history to match the feat was, this isn't a typo, the New York Yankees. Yes, this is in 1927 when the New York Yankees was a football team. Was the
Huh.
last time something like this happened. They played every day but Monday. The only other time it's happened.
Every day but Monday?
Yes. So
Is there a day that
Sunday,
the Chiefs
Tuesday,
aren't playing
Wednesday,
on?
Thursday. Yes, the Chiefs do not play on Tuesday
Oh,
because nobody
okay.
plays that week.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
But the
That's still
Chiefs will
insane,
have, so
though.
yes, the Chiefs will have, obviously they'll play on Sunday. Obviously they play on Monday Night Football. Those are
Yeah.
very normal. Same with they get
It'd be a
obviously they
weird
get the
year if they
Thursday
weren't.
opener. Yeah, they get a Thursday opener. Obviously as the defending Super Bowl champions, they get a Saturday game late in the season. Not that abnormal, right? That happens sometimes at the end of the
Yeah.
season. Then the weird ones come with, they get the Amazon Prime Black Friday game against the
Wow.
Raiders. That one's a bit strange. And then the worst one of them all is when they have to play the Steelers on Wednesday because that Wednesday is Christmas.
Wow. So they're pretty much just given every holiday. Except,
Yeah.
did you say Thanksgiving in there? They play on Thanksgiving?
No, I believe they do not have Thanksgiving
Oh, darn.
because the only Thursday night game they're listed for is the home opener.
Ah, well, there you go. Well, that's unfortunate. I think they really, really could have completed the entire. That would have been funny. Give the Chiefs both Christmas and Thanksgiving. That would have made my entire existence. Being able
Yeah.
to enjoy the Chiefs with my entire family and watch them probably shit stomp the Raiders. It would have been great. Can't wait to watch that on Christmas. It's gonna be terrific. Anyway,
Steelers on Christmas. Either way, same result. But
yeah. Well, oh, okay. Well, yeah. There you go. Yeah, it's still definitely something that's very, very interesting, and I think Andy Reid's comments on it definitely highlight that as well. It clearly that he very much came out and said, "Yeah, we don't care, buddy. We won the Super Bowl the last 2 years. It doesn't matter to us. We'll Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday on the moon. We don't care. It doesn't matter where. Doesn't matter when. We'll play. We'll win." Is pretty much what he came out and said. And I mean, I don't know what else I'd expect from him to say. It'd be weirder if he came out and just like, what? Yeah, that's stupid. Why are we playing that much on such stupid days? We just want to play on Sunday. Like it, I don't know. I don't know what else I'd expect. This kind of seems like a no shit article to me. I don't know who actually asked him on that, but at least to me, I don't know what else I
I
would
mean,
expect him to say.
but it is kind of, yeah, it is one of those answers. What else is he supposed to say? But it also is one of those answers where it's like, that's not what he actually thinks about this. That's
Oh,
what you
sure.
have to
Yeah, of
say,
course.
because if you say, yeah, we're screwed because of the schedule, obviously that's not great optics for your team, right? But I think I know lots of players, and it's been a huge issue throughout the however long Thursday night football has been a thing, where
Yeah.
having these short rests and having these quick turnarounds is not ideal for players. Um, there's been studies done. Apparently, I'm pretty sure the NFL claims that there's no higher concurrence of injuries on Thursday night football. But just based on the eye test, it seems like there is.
Yeah.
You don't get the same week of practice, same week of preparation, same week of allowing your body to heal. And with the Chiefs, it's just going to be like they're all over the place. And I do think that is a little bit of a competitive disadvantage in terms of Not
Yeah.
having the same amount, not having the same even consistency of preparation time. You're
That's what
never
I was
going to
gonna
be able
say.
to
Yeah.
really get settled. And as much as that stuff is not like the Chiefs are still going to be good, and as inconsequential as some of that stuff seems, I think it does matter, and we've seen there's a reason teams win coming off of bye weeks. That stuff does matter, and I think just as a whole, it's a little bit indicative of the larger issue where I think now more than ever the NFL is prioritizing profit and big time TV windows over competitive balance. This is one of the least competitively balanced schedules we've ever seen.
Yeah, and it's just interesting. It's just very, very interesting because of course it happened to the Chiefs. Who else would it have happened to? And Mahomes was also quoted in here, even saying pretty much the same thing that you just said there, which was, "I feel like our schedule has gotten crazier every single year," and I mean it's clear that the fans aren't the only people noticing the fact that, like you pointed out there, it's less about safety these days and it's more about how much money can we make off our Amazon deal. It's
Yeah.
And I mean, of course, the NFL are going to do that. It's not very surprising. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it was that long ago that Goodell was talking about potentially adding another game, wasn't he? Like it's been a
Yep.
whole mix of things that honestly it's just it doesn't even surprise me anymore that stuff like this is continuing to happen. It's just what I think we should have all grown to expect out of the NFL at this point. That safety, very clearly at the very least, isn't as important as the bottom line, which I imagine is the case for most most leagues. It's probably just more noticeable in the NFL.
Well, it is different in the NFL because I think the NFL has more contact than any other sport. Like it needs to be more of a recovery period than any other sport. Because like I mean, looking at like at least any other major sport, because you look at like hockey, at
Yeah,
least in hockey you're generally taking shifts. You're not taking hits on every single shift you're
I
out there.
and that's what I was gonna
Whereas
say too. Because immediately when you said that, my immediate reaction was, I don't know about that. But something that a lot of players learn very early on is how to avoid hits and how to properly take hits so that you basically don't feel it as long as the person on the other side of it isn't Dustin Bufflin. It's, I mean, yeah, I do agree with you. NFL is probably the most physically, and we see that even in injuries. I mean, I think the NFL probably has the most injuries without a doubt. I don't think that's a controversial
oh yeah,
statement. Like it's
no, not at all.
yeah, that or no, it's probably the NFL.
Yeah, just look at even like the amount of quarterbacks we saw get injured last year.
True. Yeah.
Like, and compare that just to the amount of like star centers in the NHL. Like, nowhere near the occurrence of injuries, despite the fact that the NFL plays about an eighth of the games, or I guess not an eighth, like a whatever it is, like a quarter of the games,
Yeah, don't ask me
because
to
they're
do
almost at the 20.
math.
Yeah, a little bit less than a quarter of
Yeah.
of the NHL schedule, but like that's insane. Um, and yeah, I think for all the efforts to try to improve player safety, it kind of proves the NFL a bit hypocritical when they throw schedules like this. I kind of want to throw another schedule out there for you, Simon, in terms of one that's impacted by a similar kind of mindset. That's the New York Jets. We
Oh.
saw this last year when Aaron Rodgers came into town and they put the Jets on primetime every week. And then we had to watch Zach Wilson in primetime for about 3 months. Um, and poor kid got eaten alive. And so there was a quote that came out. I don't even need to look it up because I remember what it was. I believe it's Mike North is the name, NFL head schedule maker. Where he said basically, "Yeah, we put the Jets in primetime a whole bunch again because they kind of owe us." And I, for one, think that's a bit of a stupid sentiment. Like, yes, I
I think that's
understand you
funny.
have regrets, but like running it back is kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Not only did they run it back, but they put them in primetime even harder than they did last
Hell
year.
yeah.
Um,
Caleb,
so I'm
you
just
know
gonna
what? You
take
know what
this out-
happens when you miss in roulettes? You
Every
spin
gambler
the wheel
stops
again.
before his big win. Every gambler stops before the big win, right, Simon? Trick Play
Exactly.
Gambling Podcast.
Exactly. Oh yeah.
Um,
So if just remember, hey, if you do, everybody knows, everybody knows, and this is gambling advice with Simon, the man who does not gamble. Everybody knows that if you play roulette twice, you have a 100% chance to win. Because it's 50%
Exactly.
plus 50%. That's 100%.
Exactly.
It's just how it works.
That is 100%, Simon. That's
so
how it works.
therefore, the Jets will. I mean, it'll just work out. Like, there's no chance that a 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers will ever like fall down the stairs just because he's an old grandpa. It's not
coming off an Achilles injury. There's no way that he gets.
No, it won't happen at all.
So yes, based on that logic, because 50 plus 50 is 100. You say, put the Jets in prime time 7 out of the first 11 weeks of the NFL season.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Including, not once, but twice, having a Sunday game and then a Thursday night game. So short weeks, twice in that stretch.
Hope
that
your
I want
Achilles
to kind of quote.
Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they're just gonna put them out to dry here. I think this was kind of brought up to me listening to the MMQB podcast with Connor Orr. He has an article here that was talking about it. I think this kind of sums it up well. He said, if this schedule was purely the creation of the NFL, the Jets should refuse to take the field until the league rips this up and starts all over. It's getting that bad. It's getting that bad.
And it just doesn't make sense, especially if you're talking about doing it based on, like, how good the team did the year before. The Jets were not good.
Yes.
Like, you're completely basing it off the fact that Aaron Rodgers... Well, I won't even finish the sentence there. You're basing it off of Aaron Rodgers. Well, I mean, it's going to be interesting. That is definitely for sure. I think the one difference this year is they did draft a young quarterback behind Rodgers. I believe they drafted... Who did they draft
Jordan
again?
Travis.
That's right. Yes, they did
Jordan
draft
Travis.
Yeah,
who may or may not have also recently gotten injured. Who also may not have a brutal long-term injury.
I thought you were talking about like this offseason, but yeah.
No. It's not like.
So what you're saying, Caleb, is your prediction just to like to say exactly what the entire comment section is thinking. You're saying on the first 2 drives of the Jets season, Aaron Rodgers is going to go down, and then Jordan Travis is going to go down the exact same way?
No, because Jordan Travis isn't their backup quarterback.
Oh,
they have who
do they have in the middle?
They have the foolproof, injury-proof. Definitely never had injury problems. Definitely never had the whole punctured lung thing or any other million injuries that this guy's had. Tyrod Taylor.
It's like they're asking for it.
Yeah.
It's like they're asking for it. Like, oh, buddy. Like, just
want to say it before the comments get at me. Obviously, the punctured lung thing wasn't his fault, but point being, he's kind of injury prone.
Well, not even kind of. I feel like he's like I can't think of a team he's been on in the last little bit that he didn't get hurt. Like and obviously it's not his fault. Like it's not like we're beating down. Yeah, exactly. He's not young. It's not like we're trying to beat down on a guy for getting hurt, but it's just we're pointing out something that I think is an important conversation to have around the Jets, just in the fact that they clearly didn't really learn their lesson. I feel like when you watch Aaron Rodgers go down like that, I feel like the first thing you got to think is, shit, let's bring in a guy that we know is going to be able to stick around the whole year, just in case.
Yeah. And to be fair to them, Tyrod Taylor is a good backup when he plays. But yeah, they don't exactly have. So I do think they addressed it better than they did last year.
No, I mean that's a low bar. Yeah, that is a low bar. That's true. But it's still the type of thing where, God, just like I don't even know. You could have brought in almost. I feel bad because I do like Tyrod Taylor. I like watching him play football, but you could have brought in another backup quarterback, pretty much any backup quarterback that is on the same level as Tyrod Taylor, and you would have been probably better off just based on the injury history. Like, I think I would have rather have a slightly worse quarterback who's not injury prone. Like, I feel like that's the safer choice, at least to me. But who knows? Maybe it means Jordan Travis ends up starting the year in his first rookie season, which would be kind of funny.
Who knows? Who knows? I think that even if you look at the Jets and think, wow, they should have gotten somebody a little bit better, I think they probably weren't thinking they weren't going to have to face this kind of gauntlet right away. I think that's the
Yeah,
other thing.
yeah, that's true too. I mean I would have done it either way. Like I think it would have been. It's an important conversation to have whether you have the easiest or hardest schedule in the NFL, right? Because I mean, especially after your quarterback goes down, I think on the first drive, right? Like it's absolutely
Yeah.
just something you have to think about. It happens in any sport, right? It doesn't even have to mean quarterback. Like if your best middle linebacker went down on the first snap and was out for the rest of the season, are you telling me you wouldn't be spending the offseason looking for a good backup middle linebacker just in case? Like it's that type of thing, right? Where you just want to be safe and it doesn't feel like this is being safe. Sure, you have a good backup quarterback now, but that you don't know what's going to happen with that backup quarterback. Like he could, if he ends up hurt, then I'm not, you're stuck with a rookie quarterback who a lot of people have already labeled more of like a, what even is the word? I'm blanking off the top of my head.
Project.
There you go, like a project quarterback, like as your starter, which is not what you want. And maybe that's why they're willing to be more risky. Maybe it's because they're more.
I mean, he is their third string quarterback. Like it would take absurd bad luck to get to that point.
Yes, but are you saying it's impossible?
I'm not necessarily
Exactly.
saying it's
Like
impossible
it's
with the schedule that they have.
exactly, and that's why it's a tough situation to be in. So I mean, at the end of the day,
but
it's not entirely their fault because it's not like they make the schedule, but still,
yeah, I was gonna say I think that's where I differ from you is that I think the Jets have like being schedule agnostic had a decent plan in terms of drafting a quarterback and bringing in an experienced veteran behind Aaron Rodgers. I think their
yeah,
plan is a lot better than what they did last year.
no, it
I
definitely
think
is.
more than anything, they got screwed by the schedule, and I
Okay,
think that happened to a whole bunch of teams. Just to kind of wrap up the schedule thing, I think it also another one that kind of pops up to the top of my head is the Steelers. They got screwed because I think they play a whole bunch of their divisional games. Like they play like 90%. This is like kind of just riffing on what the exact stats is, but it's like 90% of their divisional games in the last like 6 weeks of the season or whatever, where it's like all divisional games packed in at the end. I think it's just kind of concerning to me how much more the NFL is favoring TV money over competitive balance, and
well,
I hope it doesn't have to start impacting the NFL in a way where we're starting to see teams drop off in quality just because they were kind of shoved into a matchup where in previous years there wouldn't have even been a game.
and if we want to talk about the money side as well, we can quickly touch on this. The other headline that we came into the segment with, which is the fact that NFL fans in the U.S. will now have to pay $1,600 a year to watch every game after the Netflix edition, which is the most crazy thing ever. That has to be like, I mean, it's as somebody who enjoys myself some MMA and boxing, it's not something that's unknown. Like especially like any fellow UFC fans out there will probably could tell you how much it costs to watch the UFC, and it's probably a similar number. But the reason it's a similar number is because you have to pay $100 a month on like the pay per view, right? Like that's why it costs that much. So it's the fact that this is happening with the NFL is crazy to me. Like like at
Yeah.
least for the big four sports, I've kind of always known it to be the you can just flip on a channel and it's there type thing, right? As long as you have the sports channels, that's how it has been for a long time. And all of a sudden, yeah, no, if you want to watch this, you have to have this channel, and if you want to watch this game, you need to have Amazon, and if you want to watch this, you need to have this thing. If you want to watch that,
Peacock.
yeah, you gotta. It's just getting legitimately bonkers. It's like they're trying to lean into the whole sort of like pay. It's basically pay per view at this point. It is pay per view. Like it's which
Yeah. Well, it's just the proliferation of streaming, right?
yeah.
It's Amazon, it's your Peacocks, it's I'm sure it's not because the underlying thing in all of this is that cable is dying and a lot of people don't have cable anymore because other than sports, what do you have cable for? The news? My list ends
No.
there. Like I know, I mean I still like just because I live with my parents and my dad watches a lot of hockey and football and sports, we have cable. But
We actually
like
don't have
if
cable. Like that's the 'cause
exactly, yeah,
we technically have like I don't want to explain it because I think I don't even know how to explain it, but we have it's cable without cable. It's weird. Don't worry about it. It's funky.
Yeah,
Tell us.
but like that, I think that's becoming more and more common, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's why the transition to streaming services is happening. I am just kind of, I think, upset that, like, I mean, we have DAZN here in Canada. I think there's a similar thing that the NFL runs in the States. It's nice to be able to have all, like, I always just wish that there's like one platform that I can kind of pay a set fee and watch all my NFL games. I get that in DAZN. I think people in the States have a little bit rougher because where they have to go on Amazon Prime or they have to go on Peacock because it's not the same licensing deal in Canada, we get it all in the same place. So I think A, it makes me grateful to be Canadian, but I mean also just like B, looking at that structure and going kind of like, yeah, this is problematic. Like having to pay this much to multiple different kind of vendors to have an Amazon Prime subscription just to watch Thursday Night Football feels just like the greed of these companies is just kind of.
Well, I mean, with that kind of like, if I don't even know. The conversation has been brought up a lot, and I'm gonna take it here because I think it's an important question to ask, especially with the price being this high. And this has come into the headlines, especially in the boxing world. I think it was with the, oh God, I'm not a full on boxing fan. I'm an MMA guy, but the Fury, I think, is it Usyk? Usyk. I think it's Usyk. I don't know his name. I don't know him as well, but like with that fight, I remember there was they actually released the number of how much they lost based on pirating, like people pirating the fight. And they lost, I think, over $100 million, like in sales because people were just pirating it. And I think that's got to be a conversation now with the fact that, like, I almost feel I'm gonna just come out right and say it. I feel like the NFL is almost asking for it when they're asking for 1,600 to watch every game. Are you kidding me? Like, how many people can actually? Who's going to do that? Like, it is absolutely bonkers to me. And that's not me encouraging it. I want to make that clear. That's not me encouraging it because I don't want to go to jail. All I am saying,
an inevitability.
It is exactly yes, yeah. Like it's the type of thing where it's just like if you're gonna ask for that much money and there is another way around it that most fans probably don't want to take that route, but I'm sure there's a lot of fans in the States who are looking at that price tag and going, I don't have another choice. Like if I want to watch the NFL, this is the world I live in now, right? And that's the crappy thing is it's almost becoming you have to be rich to watch the NFL. It is no longer the sport for all Americans, right? Exactly.
What a dystopian capitalist hellhole we live in, hey?
I know, right? Like
that's a fun, optimistic way to end the segment, eh?
Oh yeah, it's terrific.